Hi guys, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. So today we're going to be looking at why are you the best person for this job? Okay, that's a common interview question that comes when you attend a job interview. Now the reason why I feel this is a good topic for you, we're going to be starting a new year very soon. And there are going to be a lot of job prospects. Now the competition keeps getting tougher year in, year out. So you have to be able to answer correctly some of the questions. So the way, before I go any further, please subscribe to this channel if you're here for the very first time, because on a regular basis I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. And in case you want to access some of my free courses, you can write to me, we can chat, we can get to know each other. Then there may be something I would request you to do, but that's if you're interested to access this course for free. Okay, now let's get started with it, shall we? Now you see guys, everybody at one point or another will need a job in their life, okay? And it's all, I mean, that's how the world revolves. We all need to work. Now the thing is that as the competition gets tough, you need to be able to discover how best to ace an interview. Most of the times we don't win these interviews because we fail to answer the questions correctly. Some of these questions like tell me a bit about yourself and things like that. Now I have to ask you this question. If somebody asked you why you feel you're the best person to get this job as a monitoring and evaluation officer, that's a tricky question, because if, for example, you don't have the experience that you feel you should need or that many organizations are looking for, that can be a tricky question. And it's also tricky because other people out there, you might immediately, when somebody asks you that question, it might trigger something in your mind that, okay, can I be better than this other person I know who's got better experience than me? Why do I think I'm better than them? Okay, so it usually triggers that kind of feeling. But don't despair, because the issue is that, you know, at the end of the day, you can win this interview if you answer the question correctly. So this is my advice to you. Number one, when you're asked that question, why you feel you're the best person for this job, you need to focus on your strengths. What is it that you're good at doing? So now I'll give you an example. I've been in this M&D field for 10 years now, and I've contributed substantially to different organizations. I've built M&D systems for them. I've done a few consultancies here and there. So those are my biggest strengths. So when I go into an interview, I'll start by saying that I feel I'm the best person for this job because I have built systems in M&D. I have acquired a lot of experience when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. That is my biggest strength. But in case you don't have that kind of experience, okay, you don't have that long experience, there could be other areas that you're good at. It could be report writing. It could be being a good public speaker or someone who presents things well, being analytical. Okay, so you need to make those things come out in the job. And you know, there should be important things that will bring value to their organizations. For example, if this is your first job, you can start by explaining things you did very well when you were at the university. Okay, you can start from there, and those are things they can verify when they call your supervisor or whoever. But if this is your second or third job, it's very easy to point at things that you did that made the organization that you're coming from better. Okay, so that's tip number one. The second tip is that you need to also be confident, okay, about what you're saying. You know, the thing is that the interview panel don't they are not very moved when somebody doesn't show that confidence in the way they express themselves. Okay, avoid things like looking up in the air, rolling your eyes from side to side. Try to look straight at the panel. Try to maintain eye contact with them. Okay, and also try to mention that if hired for in this organization, mention some of the things that you are going to bring on board. Okay, because that is what they are interested to hear. So if they ask you, why do you think why are you the best person for this job, you need to mention that I feel I'm the best person for this job because I can actually solve some of the problems that you are facing and that many people are facing. What you need to, and this is why it's also important to take time to do a bit of background check of the organization that you wish to join, or you can just read the internet, look at what many businesses are facing currently or organizations are facing currently when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. Now, there's one thing I need to tell you is that one of the biggest challenges that, and this is a tip that I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges that many organizations are facing is actually sustaining a M&D system. And when I say sustainability, there are so many things that are involved. The running of a M&D system requires funds, requires personnel. Now, all those are limited. So now it would be interesting to know from you how best you are going to solve such a problem. Okay. Another tip, especially for those who want to get these managerial positions, they would really want to know how you handle conflict in the organization, because that should be your biggest strength. So if you've applied for a managerial position or a director's position in the organization, they would really want to know, how do you manage conflict? How do you manage deadlines? Okay, how do you manage things that are unforeseen? Okay, they would really want to get to know that about you. And those are really the things that would be good to talk about when they tell you, why do you think, when they ask you, why do you think you're the best person for this job? Now, those are my 3 tips. The first tip is mention your strengths, talk about what you're going to do to the organization, and also, maintain, eye contact. Now, the other thing that I also want to talk about is, apart from that, is when you actually go for these interviews. Now, I'm not talking about just that question, but I'm talking about other questions that they may ask, but other things that you must be aware about is, one is your dress code is pretty important. Okay, when you go for any interview, even if the organization seems relaxed. I've seen some organizations, even an organization which I worked for, you'd find that employees there just in a relaxed way, they dress relaxed. But I think for any job interview you attend, you must be formal, okay, in your dress code. So make sure to have a suit on. If you can have a suit, just go for that interview. Okay, and then after you get employed, that's when you can blend in with the job. Now, let us tackle another question which often comes. I know I started this presentation with that question. The common one is, tell me a little bit about yourself. Now, please don't go back and explain things that are not related to your career path. They don't want to hear about your hobbies. They don't want to hear about, I think those are not so important at the moment. But what you need to focus on is things that are related to monitoring and evaluation. So you need to start by, for example, in your academic life, how did you reach up to where you are today? So when you were doing high school, obviously you must have been heavy in mathematics or research. and later on you went to university, you continued in that career path. So they would want to know all those things. They would want to know your work experience. You can explain to them, it's okay to explain to them that your marital status, your age, that is okay, but don't be too heavy on that because it's not relevant. Okay, you don't need to tell them I like watching movies and things like that. I don't think, actually it doesn't work. If you ask me, you can ask any career counselor out there. They're going to tell you the same thing. Then one thing that's also, maybe this is my last tip, and I learned this tip when I attended one of these workshops, is if they offer you, if the panel offers you anything to drink, okay, decline, humbly decline. And the reason is simple. The things like coffee, tea, bread or scones, if they give that to you, things like that can act as a serious distraction. And even as you'll be explaining yourself to them, it won't work. You'll be busy, with the food instead of concentrating on them. So you need to humbly decline. If it's a bottle of water, I think it may not be wrong to get a bottle of water just to clear that throat of yours. But anything eating or coffee, I think humbly decline. Okay, so those were some of the tips that I thought I could briefly share you. I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and please write to me. I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. See you on the other side. Bye.